Hello and welcome to Think About It, where we have two primary goals. One, to get you to think about it, and two, to make more sense than Keith Olbermann, which is not really that difficult these days. It appears as if some people in Manhattan were afraid for no good cause. Massive panic, widespread evacuations, and a great deal of anger has been generated in America's largest city because on Monday, somebody thought it would be a good idea to get a picture of Air Force One flying very low in front of the Statue of Liberty. That somebody would be a part of the Obama administration, although oddly enough, nobody really wants to admit that they had any idea what was going on or why it would possibly be a big deal. I can't think real clearly about anything that would have happened in New York City in recent years that would be alarming if you were to see an F-16 fighter jet and a jumbo jetliner flying 1,000 feet off the ground. I'm sure it'll come to me soon. Interestingly enough, denials are coming from every corner of the administration about how this happened, why it happened, who knew about it, and who didn't. In fact, the very President of the United States, we affectionately refer to him as President Prompter, went off prompter today, probably because it wasn't cooperating again like the other day, to say that this is the first he had heard of this scenario and how angry he was. We heard from the Department of Homeland Safety Secretary Janet Napolitano, who said she had no idea, but this was just appalling behavior. I don't know how many of you have the History Channel, but just a few weeks ago they aired a fascinating special on Air Force One. Took us on a tour of the plane, showed what the entire procedure is like just to get it off the ground, how many people are involved. The FAA has to reroute all flights in the area. Everything from putting food on board to doing this. It's a very, very large undertaking. Secret Service has to know, and on and on and on. And yet we're being asked to believe that absolutely nobody had any idea how this took place. My favorite denial came from the White House spokesman, Robert Gibbs, who is a laughing stock. As he said, when asked for an apology to the people of Manhattan, he said, "You'll have to ask the White House about that." Isn't the White House press secretary generally located in the White House as its spokesman? I have 5 questions for you about these denials and bizarre decisions. Number 1, if indeed you believe that all those denials are true, does it make you feel safer knowing that nobody, not the president, not the Secret Service, not the Department of Homeland Security, nobody knew that Air Force One was going up in the air and flying 1,000 feet off the ground over ground zero? See, some of us realize there are still terrorists, and it's not just overseas contingency operatives, but they were terrorists. They knocked down very big buildings, killed a lot of people. I can understand why people in Manhattan would still be a little on edge about that, even though nobody in this administration wants to admit it. Number 2, if those denials are false, and we all know they are, does it make you feel safe? See, if the denials are true, it's frightening. Since we know they're false, it's also not all that comforting, because then there's something they're trying not to tell you. I'd kind of like to know who was on the plane. Was it a field trip for Sasha and Malia? Did they take the class up to say how cool Daddy is? Or was it a group of major donors? Perhaps MoveOn.org did a little rewards trip. Number 3, can you imagine what would be taking place right now if President Bush was in office and this exact same thing happened? There is no media left in this nation anymore, my friends. That's why we communicate like this. Because for some reason the Kool-Aid has been sucked down in every newsroom of this country. But if Bush was in office, congressional hearings would be starting probably right this second. Number 4. We celebrated Earth Day recently, at least some of you did. Any idea what kind of a carbon output Air Force One maybe threw up in the air for this little photo op? And how about your tax dollars? It costs about $60,000 an hour to run that boat. Pretty good expenditure, at least we're not in a recession or anything. And the last one is this: are you yet to the point where you are insulted by blatant dishonesty? Or are you still stuck in the Kool-Aid? Because frankly, Obama seems to be getting away with pretty much everything. He can do anything he wants, say anything he wants, and people just nod and say, that's how we like it. Okay. I tend to be a little bit offended when my intelligence and integrity are insulted. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just been lied to. And if you're in Manhattan, I've never been there. I do want to visit Ground Zero someday. If you're in Manhattan, ask yourself this. Do you feel less safe or more safe today with the man that you've helped put in office? Think about it.